Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hope everyone's having a good morning. Let's make sure our streams are all good here. We're good. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. We good everywhere? All right, we are good. At least I think we are. All right, so let's get into this, folks. Y'all see what the topic is. Today I'm going to tell you. The topic here today is I'm going to tell you 4 things you personally can actually learn and take from Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump. 4 things that you can take skill-wise, mindset-wise, and hopefully application-wise from Donald Trump, even if you are not a Republican, even if you're not MAGA, even if you're whatever you are politically. It doesn't matter. You don't even have to be, you can be politically agnostic. You don't even vote. You're not even registered to vote. You can't vote. You don't need to live in the United States, so you're not going to be voting. Doesn't matter. What I'm going to share here today is something that are things that anyone can apply. Anyone can apply if you pay attention, and I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. So you don't even have to pay attention. All you got to do is pay attention to what I'm saying. You don't even have to notice him or listen to anything that Trump says or anything people say about him. Things I'm going to share here today are 4 things that any of you can use in your own life and in your own business with regards to how Donald Trump operates, because these are things that have actually worked for him. Again, whether you agree with him or not, whether you are a fan of his or not, whether you're going to vote for him or not, whether you even care about politics or not, you can even take politics out of this, because what I'm about to share, I mean, I'm going to mention politics. I'm going to use it as a frame for some of my points. But overall, this will be useful for all of you, again, if you are open-minded enough to understand why these things make sense once I get into explaining them. So I know some of you might not like the topic, but that's exactly the point. That's exactly why I'm bringing it up, because there is something that you can learn from, I don't know who said this. It might have been Sun Tzu in The Art of War. He explained, I think it was him who said it, and probably others have said it as well, but you can learn just as much from the people you dislike as you can learn from the people who you do like. If you limit yourself to only learning from the people who you do like, you're cutting yourself off from, let's say, 50% of the information, because people who you dislike them for a reason. There's something that they did that probably worked in their favor, that you're disappointed with the fact that it worked in their favor. That might be the reason why you don't like them. But you could learn from that to find out what it is that they did that actually made it work, and figure out, or how could I possibly use that myself? For example, my background as an athlete, I might play against another player and not like this player because they were talking too much trash, or I don't like the way they played, but they scored on me a few times, or they blocked my shot once or twice. And even though I may not like who they are as a person, I can still ask myself, okay, how did they do that move that they scored on me? How did this, if I'm in a boxing ring with somebody, how did they land that punch on me that caught me off guard? How did this person play defense on me to where when I tried to shoot the ball, they blocked my shot? You can still learn from someone, even if you don't either you personally dislike them, or you just dislike them when it comes to the work that they're doing. So what I'm first trying to do here is open you all's minds. Those of you whose minds maybe you may have showed up with a closed mind, that there is something to be learned from anyone, even if you dislike them. Again, especially if they've done something successfully, whether you are happy for that success or you're disappointed with that success. We can agree that Donald Trump has done some things successfully, again, whether you agree with it or you not, or you don't. You can learn from anyone, again, especially people who have achieved at a certain level, because they're exposing something that might be blocking you from noticing. So those of you who are listening to me right now, and let's say you are a huge, staunch, anti-Trump person, never Trump person, you hope he gets incarcerated and all the negative things that get said about him, you are the person who especially needs to hear what I'm going to share here today. And if you're a fan, you need to hear it as well. But those of you who are haters of him, you need to hear this especially, because your emotions that cause you to hate him are the very thing that may be blocking you from noticing the logical things that actually could benefit you if you learn how to use them the same way that he is and has used them yourself. So let me get into introducing, before I get to the point, let me introduce the points, plural. I got 4 of them. Let me introduce myself. For those who don't know me, my name is Dre Baldwin. Many know me as Dre all day. I'm a former 9-year pro athlete, author of 35 books, done 4 TEDx talks, this company that I created called Work on Your Game is all about taking the tools to help athletes reach the top of the sports game, translating those tools over to the business and the professional world. That's you all, to help you perform at your highest level, do so consistently, and produce results. That's what we help people do. Perform consistent results. And what I'm going to share with you here today, if you take these logically and start applying them tangibly, these will help you perform at a higher level, do it consistently, and produce more results no matter what it is that you do for a living. You don't have to be involved or interested in politics at all. I'm just using Donald Trump here because everybody knows who he is. And I could just say 4 things you can learn, period, but it wouldn't draw as much attention as if I didn't say 4 things from Trump. So I'm going to tell you these 4 things that Trump uses. He's not the only one in the world who uses them, and how they work successfully for him, and why these same things can work successfully for you. All right, everybody got it? And by the way, I will answer all questions and comments at the end. So if you leave a question or a comment while I'm speaking, I will address them all at the end. Just put them in the comment section while I'm talking. I'm live on literally 7 different platforms at the same time right now on a couple of different devices. So I will get to all the comments at the end. So any of you watching or listening to me right now, and I'm not actually looking directly at the lens at whatever platform you're on, this because I'm on more than one platform. So let's get into it. Point number 1, we're talking here today about what you can learn from Donald Trump. 4 things you can learn from Trump. Number 1, the mofo knows how to sell. He knows how to sell. If you want to move up professionally, I don't care what you're doing professionally. You could be trying to move up the corporate ladder. You could be trying to get a job. You can be running a business. You could be excuse me, a freelancer or a content creator. You must be able to sell. Selling is a future-proof skill. What does that mean? A future-proof skill is a skill that will always be valuable no matter what technology or AI or coding advancements happen in the world. People who can sell will always have an opportunity. Donald Trump knows how to sell. And selling is also what we call a force multiplier. Never heard that phrase. Let me explain what that means. A force multiplier is any ability that when you have it, it makes all your other abilities better, or any tool or entity that makes everything else better. When you are a good communicator, for example, that's a force multiplier. It makes all of your other skills better. When you're a good salesperson, which is, communication is a big part of selling, that makes everything else better. So when you're good at sales, it takes everything else that you do well and it multiplies it, and it makes it even more valuable because it'll help you reach more people. So this is the value of selling. So there are many people out there who are just as good, if not better, than some of the famous people that we know. And the difference between the famous person and the person who's good, but we don't know them, is that they don't know how to sell. So, for example, there are singers out there who might be better singers than Rihanna or Taylor Swift, but we don't know them. They're singing at some local bar every night or every week, and maybe they're getting paid a couple $100. Maybe they're doing it for free, even though their singing talent is way up there, maybe even better than the famous people we know. The difference between them and the famous singers is that the famous singers, either they know how to sell or they have somebody who does know how to sell working for them or working with them. And that's the difference. There are authors out there who are better than Stephen King at writing books, but we don't know them because they haven't been able to sell books like Stephen King or like J.K. Rowling or whatever other author you like. Now, there are apps out there, maybe people who are web developers or app developers who can make an app that might be better, quote unquote, than TikTok or Instagram or Facebook. But we don't know about those apps because those people weren't able to sell their concept to the public the same way that these apps that we use every day have been able to sell their concept to the public. So selling matters a lot. I'm reading this book by this guy named Adam Grant, he's an author. He's written several books and he does speaking, and I believe he's still a professor at the University of Pennsylvania. And one of the things he mentioned, I just started this book. I'm probably on like chapter 2. And one of the things that he mentioned in the book is that when he was in college, I believe he went to Harvard University. I think that's what he said. He said he and his friends created like this little internet network where students, when they were first coming to the school as freshmen, they could connect with each other on the internet to meet each other and be friends, et cetera, et cetera. And then once everybody got to school, they closed down this little software that they had created because they figured nobody else would need it. And it had done its job, which was getting people to connect with each other through the computer or through the internet, just because they were now at college. They never even thought about the fact that other people would want this and that people would still want to use it even after they got to college. And that idea is what became Facebook. And he was part of a group that created what would have been Facebook before Facebook, but he and his friends shut it down because they didn't even see the idea. They didn't even think of it as something that they should sell to the public. And he says this in his book. And he says the reason is Mark Zuckerberg was thinking one way, I was thinking another way. And the point being, Mark Zuckerberg went and sold that idea to the whole world. And now we have Facebook, which has, who knows, 1 billion users. And Adam Grant is not running Facebook. He's doing something else. The point is, the ones that we know about, the people who we know about, and the things that we know about, somebody had to sell them. Everybody understand this? Now, how do we know about Donald Trump? When I mention his name, everybody knows who he is, right? Notice that I didn't say, hey, here's who Donald Trump is. He did this and this and this, and here's where he's from. I don't have to explain that to any of you because all you know who he is. And the reason you know who he is because he knows how to sell. When I said Stephen King, most of you know who he is. Why? Because he has sold a lot of books. When I say Rihanna or I say Taylor Swift or Beyonce, all of you know who that is, right? Why? Because they know how to sell. Donald Trump is known. You know his name and you have a strong opinion on him. Why? Because he knows how to sell. Whether you agree with what he's selling or you disagree with what he's selling, whether you love it or you hate it or you are indifferent. Even if you're indifferent, you still know his name. That's the point. And selling matters, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because we're in an attention economy. First thing you have to get if you want to sell anything to anyone is you got to get their attention. You want to sell yourself to get a job, you got to get the attention of the employer. You want to sell yourself to get a date or a mate or a husband or a wife. First thing you had to do is get the attention of the date, mate, husband, wife, or the prospective date, mate, husband, or wife. You got to get their attention first. You want to make the high school soccer team. First thing you got to do is get the attention of the coach. All right, so you have to get people's attention first before you can even sell them on what you're doing. And I think we can all agree. Again, whether you're a Trump lover, hater, or you're indifferent, we can agree that God knows how to get people's attention. Can everybody agree with that? That he knows how to get people's attention? Getting people's attention is sales in and of itself. So when I say he knows how to sell, I'm not necessarily meaning in exchange of a product or a service for money. Because often when you're running in political campaigns, you're not selling anything for money. He's not going to his audience and saying, give me money. Well, sometimes they do. All politicians do the donation stuff. But a lot of people who support a politician are not giving any money. They're just giving their time and attention, right? That's all they're giving, time and attention. And maybe you go and vote for them, but that's pretty much it, time and attention. And then maybe you get on online discussions talking about it, et cetera, et cetera. But the point is selling. You want to sell anything to anyone, the first thing you must do is get their attention. You don't have someone's attention, you can't sell them anything. I can't sell you one of my books if I don't get your attention in the first place. If you didn't know that I existed, you can't buy a book. And just because you know that I exist doesn't mean you want to buy a book, right? So selling is the first step, okay? There are many people out there. Some of you may be listening to me right now who are very good at what you do, maybe even just as good, if not better, than people who are making a lot more sales than you, meaning that maybe they have more attention, maybe they got more fans, maybe they're making more money, maybe they're advancing more in their careers, even though skill-wise, you're pretty close to them, if not better. The problem is you haven't sold the way they have sold. And that's the only difference between where you're at and where they're at. And I'm bringing all that up to say Donald Trump knows how to sell. All right, nobody can question this. All right, the guy knows how to sell. He was famous long before politics. Donald Trump's been famous since, like, who knows? How long has he been famous? Since the 80s? This guy's been famous for 40 years. All right, he was famous for business, whether, again, whatever you want to say about his business. He had this many bankruptcies, his dad gave him this, and et cetera, whatever. He was famous. I'm not asking if you like him. Again, he was famous. Famous before he got into politics. Now he's in politics. He's even more famous. All right, he sold himself in order to get the highest job in the country once. He's gotten the nomination to where there's only 2 people left to choose from 3 times. That's sales. All right. To even get there, you got to sell. To get to the final 2 of people who's running for the biggest job in the country, you had to be a very good salesperson. Now, that's to say nothing about his opponent, because she did not have to sell herself to get that. She kind of just backdoored her way into it. But let's assume other people, all right, everybody else, they had to sell in order to get those positions. And somebody says, well, that doesn't make him good just because he can sell. Okay, fine. There are other people whose names I'm not going to say here because TikTok is kind of sensitive with certain names. But the guy whose name starts with an H, who is over in Germany and calls that whole thing that is called the H. I'm not going to say any of those words, but you know who I'm talking about. That dictator guy that they keep comparing Trump to. He was a great salesperson. Again, I'm not saying he was a good guy. I'm not saying I agree with what he did, but can we agree he was a good salesperson? All right. He was in the country of Germany. His name starts with the letter H, and they compare him to Trump. You know who I'm talking about. You probably shouldn't put his name in the comments because they'll probably block you. TikTok will block you just because you said his name. All right, that and Instagram might do it as well. He was a salesperson. Was he a good salesperson? Yes, he was. There's a general named Bonaparte from France. Again, you may not like the guy, or any of you who even know the history. Maybe you don't like what he did or what he was about, but was he a good salesperson? Yes, he was. He ran the entire country, and he was one of the greatest. He's gone down as one of the greatest war generals of all time. He was a salesperson. There's a guy from the country with the R word. I know I can't say that word. I said it a couple of days ago, and I got a warning from TikTok for saying that word. There's a guy there. His initials were JS. Some of you know who I'm talking about. He was a great salesperson. Again, whether you like him or not, great salesperson. All right, you all remember, most of you remember 9/11 here in the United States. The guy who was responsible for that, his initials were OBL, and he got taken out a few years ago. Was he a great salesperson? Yeah, he was. Again, you might not like him, you might not like what he did, but did he sell a whole bunch of people on agreeing with him? Yes, he did. Those are salespeople, folks. Cult leaders, dictators, people who you viscerally hate, they all sold their vision and their movement to lots of people to get a following. Like, none of these people were acting alone. They got a bunch of people to agree with them, and then they went and did whatever it is that they did. And again, I'm going to keep repeating this here today. I'm not asking you if you agree with where they wanted to go with what they were selling. I'm just asking you, were they successful in selling? And this is where you got to separate your emotions from your logic. Okay? So some of you emotionally don't like what you're hearing, but logically, is it correct? Is it truthful that these people were able to sell? Yo, man, Reed, appreciate you for the lightning bolt as usual. Thank you, sir. So is Trump a good salesperson? Nobody can say that he's not. Nobody can say that he's not. Even if you don't like what he's selling. What did they sell? He was selling watches and hats and sneakers, and he had a school, Trump University, and some people say it was trash. Okay, fine. But did he sell it? Did he get people to buy? Answer is yes. Now, there are products out there these days that you all go to the mall, or you go to the grocery store, and you're like, I would never buy this product. I don't even know why they're selling this product. What idiot would buy this product? But the product's on the shelf for a reason, because people buy it. Okay, you don't have to buy it, but there's somebody buying that product. Again, whether you like it or not. Selling, ladies and gentlemen, is a skill that is independent of how good you are and independent of your ability to deliver what you're selling. Let me say that one more time. Selling itself is a skill that is independent of what you sell and is independent on the delivery of the thing that is being sold. Meaning, if you are a really good salesperson, you know how to sell, it doesn't matter what you are selling, because the principles of selling work everywhere. They're universal. This is the reason why me and my business, our company, is called Work on Your Game. I have clients who are in industries that I've never worked in. People who work in finance, people who are in music, we have single mothers, and I'm helping them sell their stuff to single mothers. I'm not a mother, and I'm not single, and I'm not even a female, but I can help them sell. Why? Because the principles of selling are universal. It doesn't matter where it's working. All right. It doesn't matter whatever it is that you do for a living. I can help you sell the thing that you're selling, and I don't have to have any experience in the industry. You can have 30 years of experience. I can help you sell more. Why? Because I know how to sell. It's the same thing with Donald Trump. The guy knows how to sell. As I told you earlier, selling, the skill of selling is a force multiplier. All of you should get better at selling, because it will help you do better at everything else you have going on. Moving on to point number 2. We're talking here today about 4 things you can learn from Donald Trump that have nothing really to do with politics, and you can apply these in your own life. So you got the first one, learn how to sell. Number 2, now Trump campaigned, when he came into politics, he campaigned on this MAGA thing, right? Make America Great Again. All of you know that. And on social media, he did. When he was more active on social media, he's still on social, but when he was more active on Twitter before they kicked him off and he came back, he would say things and getting it back and forth and trashing people. He still does that. He trashed, I think it was Taylor Swift he trashed a few weeks ago, and he's trashed other people. And then people will get mad at him and saying that he's immature and he's unstable. And even Vice President Harris is saying that he's mentally unstable, he's unhinged, et cetera, et cetera. And then they use his own words as proof. Oh, look, he said this, he said that, he posted this, he tweeted that. But people say this all the time, right? All right, so here's the thing. His genius is in his simplicity. His genius is that he keeps things simple. Whether you agree with what he says, can we all agree he keeps things simple? Has any of you ever heard him say something and you weren't quite sure what he was saying? For the most part, you get it. But for the most part, you get the point. You might get the point and say, this is terrible. You might get the point and say, this is amazing. But you never get the point and say, I don't understand what he's trying to say. Now, with his opponent, Vice President Harris, there are times that she says things and I'm like, she didn't actually say anything. She said a whole lot of words, but there was nothing actually being said. I'm just using her as a comparison simply because they're the two people in the election. This is not really about the election at all. He just keeps things simple. All right. Genius, ladies and gentlemen, is shown through simplicity, not complexity. That's the point that I want you to get. Genius is displayed through simplicity, not complexity. Let me give you a great example. How many of you are Apple products customers? Meaning you have the AirPods, you got the watch, you have the phone, the tablet, the computer, or you got at least one of those products. How many of you are Apple products users? All right, a lot of you are Apple products users. Now, watch this. Let me explain to you how the genius is in simplicity. Notice the thing about technology. Those of you who have been using technological products for a while, you go back to like the Windows days with PCs before you switched over to Apple. Notice how when you got those products, you had to read the instruction manual to figure out how it works. When's the last time you read an instruction manual for an Apple product? If you bought a new iPhone or the Apple Watch or the AirPods or the tablet, what they call it, the iPad, or the Mac computer or the MacBook desktop, do you have to read an instruction manual to figure out how it works? No, you don't have to do anything. All you got to do is open the box, turn it on, and it's intuitive, as they say. You go straight to using it. Most of you, if you're under the age of 50, you probably can pick up an Apple product and start using it immediately without ever reading a single instruction. That's genius. Whereas with a lot of other technological products, you got to read all the directions and the instructions, and it doesn't quite make sense. And then you're calling the 1-800 number and you're getting frustrated because you don't know how to work it. The genius of Apple is that they made it so simple that you can pull the product out the box and start using it within 5 minutes, and you don't even have to read any instructions. The device doesn't even give you instructions. You just open it up and it immediately goes to work. If you haven't read the book called Steve Jobs, written by a guy named Walter Isaacson, he's written a whole bunch of biographies of a bunch of people. He has one on Elon Musk. He has one on George Washington. I got a bunch of them that I need to read. But in the book is literally called Steve Jobs, and it's about Steve Jobs. Isaacson helps explain that Steve Jobs' whole vision for Apple products, those of you who don't know the story of Steve Jobs, he started the company Apple in 84. It might even be before that. He got kicked out of the company in 86, did a whole bunch of things for like 12 years, came back to Apple. They were about to go out of business in the late 90s, and he revolutionized the company. That's when they became what we all know now. And one of the key things for him is he wanted to make things really, really accessible, first of all, for the everyday person. Because back in the days, those of you over the age of, let's say, 35, you may remember that computers were not a thing that everyday people use. Computers were like things for scientists and computer geeks, and there might be one computer in one classroom in your school back in the days. Steve Jobs' vision was he wanted everybody to have a computer. Bill Gates had the same vision, but Bill Gates was maybe a little bit too techy. He was for the tech guys. He wanted to give to everyday people. The problem is the PCs were sometimes hard to understand. Steve Jobs looked at that and said, I want to make computers so easy to understand that the everyday person who knows nothing about technology can pick up a computer and use it. That was his vision. And Apple, I think we can agree, they accomplished that goal. And Steve Jobs understood that we can't teach people how to be smart on computers. That's a failing strategy. All right, trying to get people to accept new knowledge and new information and make them smarter in order to use your product is a bad idea. That's bad business because most people ain't that smart. He decided instead, let's make the product, instead of having a product up here in terms of complications, and the people down here and try to get them to get up here, just trying to make people smart. That's not going to work. Instead, why don't we take the product understanding level down here to where they're already at so that anyone can use it very easily. Nowadays, some of you might have a 3-year-old kid who knows how to use an iPhone. Isn't that true? Or an iPad. I just saw it yesterday. I was taking my son for a walk and I saw this little girl. She was sitting outside on the bench. And this girl couldn't have been more than, she's probably a little bit older. Maybe she was 4 or 5 years old. And I saw the mom was on the phone. She was walking up to the side, but there was an iPad box. Maybe they just bought the iPad from the Apple store. There was the box when you get the iPad. And then the little girl was sitting there using the iPad. She was playing little kids games. And I'm thinking to myself, they might have just bought that iPad 20 minutes ago, and she's already using it with no help, no instructions, no adult to guide her because it's that intuitive. Genius, ladies and gentlemen, is simplifying what you know. Genius does not mean dazzling people with things that go over their heads. Genius is about giving things to people so simply that no one can misinterpret or misunderstand what you're saying. Thank you, Cindy, for the fruits. I like fruit. So simplifying things, the better you can simplify things, the more you display your genius. Steve Jobs displayed his genius by making Apple so simple and accessible that anyone can use a computer. And you should be able to do the same thing with what you do. My superpower, when people ask me sometimes when I'm on interviews, people ask me, what's your like the best skill, most important thing that you do? And it's not necessarily about no performance, consistency, results. That's the bottom line of what we do. But my superpower is my ability to take a subject that is complex and break it down and make it simple enough for anyone to understand. This is why I was able to do it as an athlete when I was talking to basketball players back in the day. Some of you may have been around back then, and I can do it now when I'm talking about business things, when I'm talking about mindset, when I'm talking personal and professional development. I just take something that you may have heard of or thought about or seen or experienced, and then I break it down and help you understand the components and how it actually works, and then how you can actually use it. That's what I do best. So this is, again, why I can work with people in different industries, because once I understand something, then I can break it down and make it simple for anyone. So back to what I was saying about Trump. Research has shown, some of you may not know this, research has shown that when you're running for office, any kind of political office, you understand that you're talking to a wide group of people, and they have a wide range of intellectual abilities. So some of the people you're talking to are PhDs and scholars who are really, really smart, and they read a ton of books. And some of the people you're talking to are absolutely not that. They might be 8th grade dropouts who haven't picked up a book since they dropped out of 8th grade, and they have a lot of very basic, everyday street knowledge, but no book knowledge whatsoever. But if you're trying to win a political election, you got to get all of those people to vote for you. You got to get the super smart people who go to all the colleges. You got to get them to vote for you, and you got to get these people who don't know much and don't read at all, and they understand and they think on a very basic level. You got to get them to vote for you too. Therefore, you can't go up there and be talking all complex and going over those people's heads, because they won't vote for you. And there's enough of them that you can lose the election if you are too smart. So when you're speaking for, let's say, political office and trying to reach everybody, you can't be eloquent and you can't be high level with the way that you talk, because you'll miss the masses. The masses can't catch that. And one thing that I tell entrepreneurs all the time when I'm working with them on their messaging and copywriting and all of those things is that you should never overestimate the intelligence of your audience. Never overestimate how much people know. Do not assume that they know things that they often don't know. Now, some people in your audience will know things. So when you kind of dumb things down and make it simple for them to get, then some people might be like, all right, I already know that part, get to the more complex stuff. But most of the people in your audience ain't that. Most of the people in your audience are not that smart. I'll give you another example as I'm talking about it. Jay-Z, you know Jay-Z, right? The rapper. And when Jay-Z first came out rapping, like in the 90s, early 90s, he was rapping about really complex things. And one of his friends said to him, dude, I mean, your rapping is good. You're a good rapper. But if you keep rapping like that, people will not understand what you're saying. Your stuff is a little bit too complex and they're not going to get it. And you can never become famous. You'll be respected by the rappers by the fans who understand you, but that's a small group of people. If you want everybody to understand you, you got to dumb it down. You got to make it really, really simple. You got to spoon feed people what you want them to understand. If you get too complex, too quick, people are not going to listen because they won't understand you. And Jay-Z took heed to that advice. And Jay-Z is now Jay-Z because he made his music and the stuff that he said in his songs really, really simple so that the everyday person could understand him. And Jay-Z was a guy who was, according to his story, he was a street guy, right? So he was doing all this stuff in the streets that most people have never actually lived or experienced. But he was able to dumb down what he was talking about in such a way that even though you have never, even if you're a person who's never been in the streets and you've never done any street stuff, you've never done anything that could get you incarcerated or murdered, at least not on purpose, you still could understand what Jay-Z was talking about in his songs because he made it really, really simple and digestible for the everyday person. His business partner back in the day was a guy named Damon Dash. Some of you may know about him. And one of the things that Damon Dash said, they were in alignment with this, him and Jay-Z, when they were working together, was that Damon said this in an interview back in the day. He said, we want to get the kids from the suburbs who have never been in the streets. They go to school every day and they watch MTV. And those of you who don't know what MTV is a TV network that used to show music videos every day. They don't do that anymore, but that's what they used to do. Damon Dash said, we want to get the kids who go to school in the suburbs and go home every day. We want them to listen to Jay-Z and get it. All right, that's what we want. And he basically saying the white kids, the white suburban kids. And why that mattered to them is because the white suburban kids get their parents to go buy music, and Jay-Z was trying to make money. So this connects right back to my first point of being able to sell. Jay-Z understood that if he was going to sell himself to the masses, he couldn't just talk to street guys who understood the street life he was talking about, because that group was too small. If he wanted to be known by everybody, he had to expand his audience. And the way to do that is he had to dumb down the message. He didn't need to get these kids from the suburbs to go be in the streets so they knew what he was talking about. He needed to take the street stuff and make it digestible for somebody who was and would never be in the streets. That's how he was able to expand his message. Whereas those of you who are rap fans, you may know about some rappers who are more complex. I can't remember who I was listening to. Oh yeah, it was just yesterday. I saw this little clip on YouTube, and it was these rappers were talking about working with Puff Daddy, also known as Diddy. Not in what today, but I'm talking about back when he was one of the hottest guys in music. And this rapper named Talib Kweli. Some of you don't know Talib Kweli. He was talking about how he had went to the studio with Puff. I call him Puff Daddy. That's how I met him, as Puff Daddy, or came up on him as Puff Daddy. I don't know him. And he said that he went in the studio with Puff Daddy because y'all know Puff Daddy didn't write any of his own raps. He would hire good rappers to write raps for him. And he brought Talib Kweli in the studio to write some raps for him. And Kweli says that after like a couple of days, Puff told Kweli, yo, I can't have you writing raps for me because the raps are too complex. I can't. People are not going to understand the stuff that you're saying. So he got Kweli out of there, and he got other people like Mace and Lox, etc., to write his raps for him, because Puff understood that he needed to speak simply enough that people understood what he's saying. If you look around at musicians, and I'm using rap as an example because that's the music I listen to the most, that the most famous rappers are people whose raps are simple enough that you understand what they're talking about, even if you never lived the stuff that they rap about. So Drake, his raps are they're pretty simple. Jay-Z's raps are very simple. The Puff Daddy, when he was rapping, the raps were very simple to where everybody got it, even if the stuff they're rapping about, again, you may have never lived the life that they're rapping about, but you still get the point. All right, that's what selling is about. Genius is in simplicity, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, not complexity. And this is a counterintuitive idea that many people behave as if they believe that the more complexity they put into something, it shows your genius, but it's actually the opposite. So I just gave you a bunch of examples. So I gave you Steve Jobs as an example when it comes to Apple products. I gave you Jay-Z as an example when it comes to music. Now, Donald Trump, back to what I'm talking about here. The topic here today, Nino over there on YouTube, the topic is 4 things you can learn from Donald Trump. So the first one was he knows how to sell. I'm on the second point right now, which is that you simplify things. You take your genius and you make it actually really simple so that everyone can understand and digest what you're saying. So some candidates, I'll give you some examples here from what I was saying. Irma V, thank you for that. I don't know what that was, that hand heart, I appreciate that. So Bernie Sanders, y'all remember Bernie Sanders? No, he's still alive, right? So Bernie Sanders tried to win the nomination. I believe he tried in 2008, but he didn't get there. He didn't get close. Obama, of course. In 2016, depending on who you ask, Bernie Sanders was about to win 2016, at least the Democratic nomination, and the Democrats decided he wasn't going to win, and then Hillary got up there. Again, if you pay attention to this stuff, maybe you have an opinion on that. Maybe you know the history. I don't know too many details of that, but that's what I heard from many people, that Bernie was pretty much beating Hillary, and then they kind of flipped the script on him, and Hillary ended up getting the nomination, but then she lost to Trump. But anyway, the thing about Bernie Sanders is what I've heard people say is that when he would speak to the audiences and give his campaign speeches, he would speak on an 8th and 9th grade reading level. So when people talk, there's a reading level that your words come across as. Any of you who does any writing online, if you use something like WordPress, or I forget the name of it, there's an app called Hemingway, and there are many others who can do it these days. You can take your writing, let's say you write a blog post or you write a chapter of your book, right? And then you can paste it into certain software, and you can ask the question, hey, what reading level is this article on? Just read this article, tell me what reading level am I speaking on, because I want to understand where I'm at. And you can probably do this with ChatGPT or something these days, and it will tell you, all right, your writing is on an 8th grade level, your writing is on a college level, your writing is on a 10th grade level. And the point is, if your writing is too complex and is too high of a level, then people won't understand what you're saying. Even though you understand it, they won't understand it. And Bernie Sanders, one of the critiques people had of Bernie Sanders is that his talking, the way he spoke, was a little bit too high level, and it would go over people's heads. They didn't quite understand what he was saying. Whereas you take someone like Donald Trump, when he spoke, and still to this day when he speaks on a third grade reading level. I want that point to sink in. That when Donald Trump speaks to an audience, especially when he's speaking publicly, which damn near everything he says becomes public in national news, he speaks on a third grade reading level. And what that means is he speaks on such a level that there is no one out there, as long as you understand English, there's no one who can't understand his point. Does that have something to do with why he's won? Yes, it does. Has a lot to do with why he's won. Because no one is in the dark about what exactly is he trying to say. So when he says make America great again, everyone gets the point. Now, you may have different interpretations of what that means, but everybody gets the point, which is make America great again. The meaning it was great at some point in the past. It clearly isn't great now, and he's going to help make it great again. Everybody gets it. Again, now, whether you agree with it or not is not the question, but do you get it? Yes, you get it. Now, sometimes Kamala Harris speaks, and I don't quite get what she's trying to say. Actually, I do get what she's doing. She's kind of, they call it filibustering. When someone asks you a question, then you just say a whole bunch of stuff, but you say nothing. That's what she does because she's basically trying to buy time. That's what she's actually doing. And people start to notice that, like, yo, she's not saying anything. But Trump, he's always saying something. Now, again, I'm not asking if you agree with it, but do you understand it? Being smart, ladies and gentlemen, is about how simple you can make things. It's not about how complex you can make them. And again, a lot of you could use this in your businesses or your careers right now today. Being smart is not about making things complex. It's about making things simple. Donald Trump makes things simple. You need to do this in your life and in your business and in all your communications. More simple means more people can get your point. Moving on to point number 3. We're talking here today about 4 things you can learn from Donald Trump. This is not about Donald Trump, the politician, necessarily. It's just about Donald Trump, period. And because he's well known and all you know who he is, I'm using his name. All right. So thank you, Donald Trump, for helping me use your name. Let me use your name for this training here. Number 3, Donald Trump's never boring. All right, one thing you don't want to be, especially if you're in any space that requires holding people's attention, is you can't bore your audience. If you want to hold people's attention, you cannot bore your audience. Now, every audience is unique. There are audiences out there. If you go to a medical conference, for example, that's for chemical biologists, all right, they can absorb a ton of information and they don't really need to be entertained in order to keep paying attention because that's who that audience is. But if you go to other events, then let's say you go to a Tony Robbins event, there's a whole lot of entertainment. There's jumping around, there's dancing, there's music, there's people running up on the stage, there's making you stand up and move around and shake hands and hug and yell and scream and all that stuff because it's a different audience. So relative to your audience, you can't bore the audience. You got to give the audience what they want. Was not the same thing for every single audience. So if you took a chemical biologist presentation and you tried to give that at a Tony Robbins event, people will fall asleep. And if you took Tony Robbins and brought him to a chemical biologist conference and had him start talking, those people wouldn't really want to hear it because that's not what they showed up for. All right. So you can't bore your audience. Again, whether you love or hate someone, everybody has an opinion on Donald Trump. Is anyone listening to this who has no opinion on Donald Trump? Anyone here who's just, you have no opinion whatsoever, not positive, not negative. You don't think anything about him at all. You don't have anything to say when you hear that name. Everybody has an opinion. Nobody's neutral about him. Now, what does that mean? That means that he's gotten everybody's attention. That's what it means. The fact that you have an opinion on him means you know who he is, which means he's gotten your attention, which means he's gotten you to give at least some of your time mentally to considering him, what he's about, and what he's doing. That's sales. He has everybody's attention. All right, if I ask you about the iPhone, everybody has an opinion. Whether you have one and you love it, or you don't have one, you're like, I would never use an iPhone because whatever the reason is, everybody has an opinion. There's no one who's completely indifferent to the iPhone because all of you have a smartphone. You either got the iPhone or you got, I guess, an Android. It's pretty much the only 2 options you got. All right, everybody has an opinion. And when you have everyone having an opinion on you, that means you've done a great job of drawing attention. And if you want to sell, you must draw attention. Now, the fact that everyone has an opinion, a strong opinion, many people have a very strong opinion about Donald Trump, is that he not only has gotten your attention, he's made you feel something, meaning he's touched your emotion in some way, positively or negatively, or maybe a combination of both. And when you make people feel things, you get them to take action. That's what emotion does. Emotion triggers action. Logic does not always trigger action. All right, how many of you know stuff logically that you know you should probably be doing or something like that, but you're not doing it? All right, so logically, you can understand stuff and do nothing. But how many of you have ever been triggered emotionally and did nothing? All right, the answer is none of you, because anytime you're triggered emotionally, you take action. Donald Trump is able to trigger people emotionally, either to go against him or trigger people to support him, but he's able to trigger people. He's able to move people one way or another. So the millions of people he has who are his supporters are to back up the things that he says, and the millions of haters he has who takes everything he says and dissects it and try to make it sound like it's the worst thing that's ever been said in history. All right, that's a skill, because he gets people to respond to him. Actually, he doesn't get people to respond. He gets people to react. There's a difference. The difference between responding and reacting. Responding is when you take some space in between the stimulus and whatever you give. There's a space there where you think about it and consider your behavior. And reaction is when the stimulus happens and there's an immediate turnaround. And Donald Trump gets people to react to him. Again, his haters react to him, and the people who are fans of him react to him, or his biggest fans, they react to him. So this is a skill. Again, being able to sell requires getting people's attention. Keeping people's attention means never boring your audience. And if you're really good at keeping people's attention, you get them to react to you, not just respond to you. And again, reactions can be negative the same way they can be positive. As a matter of fact, often the reactions are more negative. Any of you ever been to a doctor before and the doctor prescribed you some medicine, or they prescribed some type of program to fix your issue, right? And you go to the doctor and then you come back 2 weeks later and the doctor says, well, bad news is your body is reacting to the medicine. What does that mean? It means that the response is somehow negative and we don't want this, so we got to change the medicine. Thank you for whoever gave me that crown, Irma V, over on TikTok. But if the doctor says, well, good news, your body is responding to the medicine, what does that mean? That means it's doing what you want it to do. So reaction is usually something that we probably don't want, and response is usually something that we do want. Donald Trump gets people to react to him. Those are his haters. And the thing about Trump, and this moves on to our fourth point. Here's the fourth point. And we're talking about 4 things you can learn from Donald Trump, is that he is willing and happily engages in polarizing his audience. Most people don't like doing that. And see, this is the thing that the mainstream media keeps getting wrong about him. They've been getting it wrong about him for 10 years, is they keep putting these negative stories out about him as if that's going to slow him down, make people stop being his fans, make people stop liking him, and make people not vote for him, when it actually does the opposite of what they wanted to do. Because he's different than most political candidates. Most political candidates, if you were to put out negative stories about them, they would try to shoot down the negative story, act like the story didn't happen. They would try to cover it up. They would try to act like they would try to put out something like some form of apology or mea culpa to the audience that thing didn't happen. And that's how most political candidates respond to negative news, because they don't want to look bad at all. They want to look like they're completely perfect and have a perfectly clean background and clean slate. Isn't that how most politicians behave? Of course it is. Now, look at Donald Trump. Look at all the negative stories that have come out about him. Look at all the court cases he had. Look at all the felony convictions. He went to trial for the R word that I can't say, and he got found liable for the R word. There's all these other charges of SA, which I'm not going to say, which has to do with women. Y'all know the 2 letters, SA, about him. All these things he coming out about him. Any other political candidate had these things coming out, their careers would be over. But the more of it comes out about him, he actually gets better and he gets more fans. Isn't that interesting? The reason that happens is that he doesn't have a problem polarizing people. He doesn't have a problem polarizing an audience. Most people don't like polarizing an audience, not because you don't like having fans, because you don't like having haters. Most people don't want to have a whole bunch of people who vehemently dislike you and are actively looking for ways to make you look bad. Most people don't want that, and they will do everything they can to avoid it at all costs. Donald Trump does not care. And this is why when they keep trying to bash him, it actually helps him, because what it does is every time they try to bash him and make him look bad, the people who support him start supporting him even more. You notice that? Every negative story that comes out about him, the people who support him, like his biggest fans, they become even bigger fans because they keep trying to bash him. Y'all remember 2021, January 6th, right? How did he get all those people to come to Washington, D.C. for him to give a speech when he claimed that the election was not done properly? You know how many people came to Washington, D.C. on January 6th, 2021, just to hear his speech? They didn't all do something negative, by the way. There are some people who did something negative and they got court cases for that, different conversation for a different day. But a bunch of people came there just to hear the speech. Why? Because these people are not just fans, they're fanatics. There's a difference between being a fan and being a fanatic. Barack Obama has fans. All right, Donald Trump has fanatics. And a fanatic is a diehard fan. If you go to a sports game, like a football game, for example, fans are people who buy a ticket, they come to the game, they cheer for the home team. When the game's over, they leave. All right, there are thousands of them at every football game. A fanatic, on the other hand, is a person who comes to the game 3 hours early. They tailgate in the parking lot before the game. It's 30 degrees outside and they have no shirt on and they got paint all over their bodies. They got masks on, they paint their faces. They're out there going crazy. They will fight another fan who's cheering for the wrong team. They will stay after the game and chant with the other fans, the other fanatics who are there. And they say a fan comes and cheers for the home team to win. A fanatic helps the home team win. Donald Trump has fanatics. And the reason he has fanatics is because of the other 3 points that I've already given you, is that he is able to sell. He keeps things really simple so everyone understands him, and he keeps the attention of his audience. That's the reason why he has fanatics. And also another reason why he has fanatics is because he doesn't care that he has haters. And here's the thing you all need to understand about human nature. Human beings love to be part of a group that not everybody is a part of. The us versus them dynamic is a huge motivator to move people to action. People like being part of something that not everybody's a part of, especially when they know there's an active enemy. Whenever you have a clear enemy, the people who are on the other side love being on that side because they hate the enemy, whoever the enemy is. So Donald Trump has a big fan base of people. And one of the reasons why his fan base is what it is because those fans know that there's a bunch of people who don't like them for being fans. And that makes them be fans even more. That makes them be even stronger fans because they know that there's an outsider group and there's an insider group. See, if you have an insider group and there's no outside group, there's no enemy to fight against, then that group's not going to be as strong because you need an enemy. Human beings like having enemies, even though most people don't like saying it. If you want to get a whole bunch of energy within any organization, you need to clearly define your enemy. When your enemy is clearly defined, then it's much easier to get people to buy in. Donald Trump has a clear enemy. Can we agree? He got a whole army of people who call themselves Never Trump. That's what they call them, Never Trumpers, anti-Trumpers, Trump haters, anti-MAGA, whatever you want to call it. I see them on social media every day, especially on X, the town square of the internet. These people just trash him all day. That's all they do. Every time I see one of their posts, they're just trashing Donald Trump. It's like their whole account, their whole day, everything they talk about is just finding different ways to talk bad about Donald Trump. Now, again, they can do that. Free speech, all right, First Amendment, free speech. The thing is, the more they do that, it does the opposite of what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is get people to stop liking Donald Trump. Like, hey, how can you vote for this guy because he did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You hear people saying that all the time. How can you vote for Donald Trump when he did this and he did that? And he has this charge, he had that happen, and he said this, and people are alleging this, and all these people said these things. Every time people come and say those things, they're saying it as if you're appealing to people's logic and their reason and they're being a good person. There's no way you can support a person who did these things, right? And the answer is yes. This is the problem. This is the mistake that people who don't like Trump keep making. They keep talking about him as if they're talking about the normal politician. He's not the normal politician. You can't shame him. All right. You can't shame him. He's anti-shame. Any other politician who had 34 felony convictions or however many he had, who had all these people accuse him of SA, which I can't say, women, who got found liable for the R word, which I can't say in court, who had a bunch of people say that, hey, you stole documents from the government, which whatever that case is going to be, is probably going to get thrown out, who had the Supreme Court keep him from getting charged even further in the thing that he does, who had people say that he tried to overthrow the government, he's going to end democracy. Any other politician had all those things against them, their careers would be over. They would never get as far as he's gotten. Again, they keep trying to use these things against him, but it's actually working in his favor. These are things that you can learn from. And how could you learn from this point? Is you need to clearly define who your enemy is and be willing to call them out. This is something a lot of people don't like doing. A lot of you who are listening to this, you don't want to call out your enemy. You don't want to call a group out specifically and attack them and bash them. And it's not necessarily that you're wrong for not doing this, but I'm telling you what you're missing out on when you don't do it is that you're not able to get people who agree with you to agree with you even more deeply because you're not clearly drawing a line in the sand. The line in the sand is you're either on this side or you're on that side. This is what we call polarizing your audience. A lot of people don't want to polarize their audience. So many of you understand the concept of attraction marketing, whether you call it that or not. Attraction marketing is when you do and say things to attract people to agree with you and like you. Rejection marketing is the flip side of that. That's when you say things on purpose, knowing that people are not going to like it, and you say it anyway. That's rejection marketing. So when I say that the American educational system is garbage, that's rejection marketing. Some of you are advocates of the educational system. Some of you are in the educational system. Some of you work there. Some of you have a bunch of degrees and you hate when people say stuff like that. I don't give a damn. I'm willing to polarize. I don't care that you don't like it. When I say the medical industry is garbage, I mean it. It's garbage. And some of you work there. So you don't like the fact that I'm saying that. I don't care. All right, that's rejection marketing. I don't care that you don't like that I said it. Donald Trump is willing to do that. He does it on a mass scale. He does it on a scale of millions of people. All right, there might be 2 or 3 people who didn't like what I just said or what I say in one of these lives or what I say on my social media posts. He does it when there's millions of people who won't like it. And he's willing to deal with the blowback. And this is one of the reasons why he is where he is. All right, so to polarize, folks, again, you just need to express an idea that conflicts with things that other people believe. You don't have to attack a particular person. So Donald Trump came out and said, I hate Taylor Swift. Now, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You could just say, I don't like this idea. I don't like this thing. I don't like the way these things are going. And it's a thing. It doesn't have to be a person. It can be a thing. And the people who identify with that thing are going to be mad at you anyway, just because by proxy, you're attacking that thing. So if I say the medical industry in the United States is a complete scam and it's all for profit and it's not about making you healthy, it's not about keeping you alive, it's all about making as much money as possible by keeping you on interventions and drugs that you don't actually need to be on, and it's all one big scam. I mean it. I believe that. It is all one big scam. Now, if you're a doctor or a nurse and you're listening to this, that doesn't mean that I have a problem with you personally. You just work in the industry. You didn't make the industry. You just work there. But if you want to take it personal and don't like me because I said it, so what? What do I lose by you not liking me? I don't lose anything. I don't need your attention. I don't need your applause, and I don't need your agreement. You have to be willing to polarize an audience. If you're not willing to polarize an audience, problem is you won't be able to draw in people who really, really agree with what you're saying. And when you can really get people to draw in closer and closer to you, you can move them to the actions that you want to move them to. Hopefully something that is positive, like voting for a person, supporting them, coming to their speech in Washington, D.C. when it's 20 degrees outside. Anyway, you know how many people he got to show up that day? Those are fanatics. Those are not fans. Those are fanatics. And there are very few politicians who could have got that many people to show up. Most politicians wouldn't even try what he tried. As a matter of fact, who named someone else who did that? You can't even name, nobody even thought of doing something like that. He did it. No one else could get away with it because of these 4 things that I just told you. So let me recap these points. I'm going to take questions and comments in a second. If you are on TikTok, leaving a comment. I know I'm not going to be able to see all the comments from the beginning. So if you have a comment or a question, hold it 1 second until I get through everyone else's, then post it again so then I can actually respond to it because I won't be able to scroll up because it was too many. So what we're talking about here today is what you can learn from former president, maybe future president, we'll see, Donald Trump. 4 things. Number 1, he can sell. All you need to be able to sell is a future-proof skill. It is a force multiplier. When you can sell, you can always put yourself in a better position. You can always move yourself to a different situation. When you can't sell, you become a victim of the circumstance. Donald Trump knows how to sell. Again, whether you agree with his ability to, whether you agree with what he's selling or how he's selling it is irrelevant. Can he sell? No one on here can say that Donald Trump cannot sell. The guy can sell. The reason I know he can sell because all you know who he is. Number 2, Trump campaigned on this concept of MAGA. Now, whether you agree with MAGA, whether you are MAGA, whether you hate MAGA, whether you are anti-MAGA, is there anyone unclear as to what MAGA is about? Make America great again. Again, you may have a different interpretation of what that is alluding to, but everyone understands what he's saying. America was great, and we're going to make it great again. But that's what he's saying. Now, what part he's talking about and how he's going to make it great, people have differing opinions, but no one is unclear as to what the message is. And clarity of message matters a lot. Clarity of message is a big part of why political candidates win their elections or lose their elections. Number 3, Donald Trump's never boring. He holds everybody's attention. All right, I put his name in the title of this live and you clicked on it. All right, that is proof that his name and what he does draws attention. And if you want to, drawing attention is one thing, keeping attention is another thing. Donald Trump is able to keep people's attention because he is never boring. He never bores his audience. All right, and everybody has an opinion on the guy. which means he gets everyone, again, to touch your emotions. He gets you to feel something, not just think something. Thinking is this level, feeling is a deeper level. When you get to that deeper level with people, you are able to move them to action. And number 4, Donald Trump's willing to polarize. Most people are not willing to polarize anyone because they don't want to offend anybody. They don't want anyone mad at them. They don't want anyone saying negative stuff to or about you or thinking anything negative about you. And Donald Trump does not have this problem. I think he's completely immune. He's completely immune to this. You can't shame him. You can't say negative. The more negative stuff you say about him, the stronger he gets. Most people are the opposite of that. The more negative stuff they get, the worse they get. Donald Trump, you say negative stuff about him, he gets better. And this is the reason why the mainstream media has failed for 10 years to take this guy away or get rid of this guy, because they keep trying the same playbook that simply doesn't work. All that said, let's not recap, but let me look at questions and comments. Nino over on YouTube said, I want to say I really enjoyed your Trump Kamala vids. True neutrality is hard to find. Found your channel because of the election, but I'll keep on watching that. Well, glad you found me, Nino. Glad you're here. Hopefully you're still watching. Let's see what we got over on LinkedIn. Sydney Evans, good morning. People on LinkedIn I think people on LinkedIn are kind of hesitant to comment when I'm doing these lives talking about current events, but shout out to you, Sydney, for jumping in. I know people are watching, but nobody says anything on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's been pretty quiet when I'm doing this stuff. I'm gonna get to TikTok next. Official Mark Triolia said 1 billion%. Appreciate you, sir. Soul Art said Jay is always rapping things that go right over people's heads. Yeah, sometimes still, but if you would have heard him back before he got famous, he was doing even more. Casa Mia Interiors, thank you for the great content as always. Thank you for being here. Soul R said Trump is the Cameron of politics. LOL, he has the simplest rhymes ever. Yeah, that's what works in politics. Official Mark said this is a great topic, bro. Thank you, sir. Soul R said even during the debate, Trump is hilarious at eating the dogs. Yes, and see, people still remember that he said that. Now, whether it's true or not doesn't even matter. And this is the part that a lot of people don't get. People who are a little bit too intellectualizing of the things that he says is not whether what he said is true or not, it's do you remember it? And everybody remembers him saying that, even if you think he was lying or just being ridiculous, everybody remembers that he said it, right? That's the thing. When he said they're eating the dogs, everybody remember him saying that they're eating the dogs. Whether you think he's telling the truth or not, again, it's completely irrelevant. So, all right, you got questions or comments on TikTok, please post. Let's see what we got. And I got to start at the bottom. So if you got a question or comment that I didn't see while I was talking, please post it again. Officially Chosen said they love complaining about immigrants, but vote for open borders. Yes, I do notice that people do that. That is interesting. David says, common sense, look how corrupt every government department is and our moral decay. Yes, that is an argument on the Trump side. Miss Rika says, I don't want a president that makes me feel hate. Well, Miss Rika, nobody can make you feel anything. I get what you're saying, but that's what you just said is kind of a falsehood. Nobody can make you feel hate. Feeling hate is the choice. Missy said, RN will no longer play in sick care world. They put us in a script from birth to make us sick. I do believe that. I agree with you with that. Sasha said they are. I have friends there. I don't know what you're referring to. Risen said, not really. His populist run. There's no real substance from him. Some say that. When you have to focus on the other candidate because your candidate has no platform. Well, I know some people say that about Kamala. Someone said, do I support Trump? No, I don't support anybody. I'm voting for myself. Lex said, is it relevant? A potential president saying that they are eating dogs and cats? Yes, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant whether he was actually telling the truth or not, because the only thing you really remember about it is the fact that he said it, to the point that you're responding to it right now. So people start listening to the media and research more, even a blind can see. Well, that's a big ask, Ivy. You're asking people to actually think. Asking people to think is a bad idea. It's a bad business strategy. I explained that when I said the iPhone. Now, the reason the iPhone works so well is because you don't have to think to use it. Asking people to think is a big ask, and you're cutting out 98% of your audience when you ask people to think. Ms. Rika says, makes me feel hated. My bad. You feel hated? By who? Who do you feel hated by, Ms. Rika? Now, I'm assuming you're black. I'm black. I don't feel hated. Hated by who? Who hates you? Someone said, Jonna said, why did we get 3 extra ballots in the mail this year? I didn't. So I don't know. The Air Hogan said, your advice has increased my confidence in interviews. That's great. Make a video of that and send it to me. We'll put that on our website. Bones said, my dude running for president. Who? Me? No, I would never get into politics. Lex said, I feel sorry for you, but most importantly, our country. This is sad. You feel sorry for me? For what reason? What are you sorry about? It's About Town 24 said, fascist. Me? I'm a fascist? How so? How so? My fun page says critical thinking is rare. Yes, it is. And you should not hope that you can get people to become critical thinkers. That's an uphill climb that you don't want to take. Ivy said, I believe there's a cure for many cancers, but pharma blocks the meds for population control. I don't know about that. I don't know enough about that to offer an opinion, but I get what you're saying. I don't know enough about it to offer anything on that. Someone said Trump repeated from a news conference. Shu last laugh said Trump for president. Okay. Someone said explain tariffs to the people. No, I'm unqualified to explain tariffs to the people. And as a general point, it doesn't really matter. Facts don't matter, ladies and gentlemen. I know many of you hope that facts would matter. Facts don't matter. And I tend to believe I'm a very logical person. So I would love if facts were the ultimate decider of everything, but they really are not. Facts do not matter anymore. They used to matter, but they don't anymore. Trump's is the fastest. He said he wanted to be a dictator from day one. No, that's not what he said. That's taken out of context. So when you take things out of context, you can say he said all these things. But again, remember, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's the point. Officially chosen said everything Trump did, Democrats took credit. Like we don't follow politics. Well, most people don't follow politics. Val said true for Trump voters. Facts don't matter. Facts don't matter at all for anybody. They do matter, but they don't. Facts don't matter. What the fuck Quebec said. Yes, facts do not matter. Yes, facts don't matter. What matters is influence and persuasion. Persuasion matters a lot more than facts. Someone said, I said, no one can make you feel anything but agreed on someone feeling. Well, everybody has feelings, but nobody makes you feel. You choose to feel. Nobody can make you feel. You can't make me feel anything. I can choose to feel, and you could influence my feeling, but you can't make me feel anything. Someone said, wait, he said it plainly is not out of context exactly what he said. Well, out of context, taking something that's exactly what they said and not saying and not sharing what they said around it is the very definition of out of context. That's the very definition of what out of context means. Someone said, I'll vote for Trump behind bars before I cast a vote for the Dems is selling us out to China. Facts don't matter as long as the system and guardrails hold, LOL. No, facts don't matter, period. They don't matter. Facts, ladies and gentlemen, can be taken out of context. I can give you a bunch of facts that can make you, I could find a bunch of facts about any one of you individually to make you look like a complete terrible person. I could also present a bunch of facts that make you look like a genius. Which one is true? Neither one, because both are taken out of context. The truth is all the facts in full context. So see, when you pick and choose facts, you can make anybody look like anything. And you can make anything sound crazy. You can make something sound amazing. But when you give all the facts in full context, that's when you get what we call the truth. So when I say facts don't matter, what matters is truth. If you really want to think, and those of you who consider yourselves thinking people, what matters is the truth, not facts. And if you're not a thinking person, what matters is persuasion. You can persuade people by giving them things that are not even true. Again, everybody remembers Trump saying they're eating the dogs. Is that a fact? We don't know. Is it a fact? We don't know. Some of you say it's not a fact. But guess what? You still remember that he said it. The persuasion is what matters. The fact that you remember it is what matters, because that's the only thing you remember. Tell me something else he said during that debate. You probably can't remember. Someone said your vote determines your IQ. LOL. Yeah, right. Someone said Trump all the way, MAGA 2024, comma, I missed that one. D said, to think white America will allow a black woman to be president is crazy. Is Kamala black? We don't know. I did a live on that earlier this week. I don't know if Kamala's black. Candace Owens has been investigating this. I do not believe that she's black. I don't believe that the lineage that she's claiming is actually true. I don't believe that she's telling the truth about where she's from and who her family is. Bone said, Kamala, I can't remember. Someone said, host, are you voting Trump? I'm voting for myself. I talked about this a couple of days ago. Who to vote for 2024? I did a whole live on it. Who to vote for? Someone said, MND said that debate was one-sided against Trump all the way. I could see that because the moderators were only asking follow-up questions and fact-checking, quote unquote, him. They never did that to Kamala. So I can understand where you're coming from. In God I trust that Candace is the truth. No, Candace has done more investigative journalism in the Kamala's background than anyone else has. That I can say for there's a fact for you. Now, whether you agree with it or not, we can agree she's done the work. That's the point. Someone said Obama isn't a citizen. Well, he is a citizen. But do I believe he was born in Kenya? I think he was. I think he was, because there was a book that was coming out before he was in politics that said he was born in Kenya. before he had any reason to be born in America, he was born in Kenya. That's what it said right on the website for the book that he was about to put out. I did a whole live on why Kamala's going to win. So all of you who say I'm just voting for Trump or I'm a Trump defender, I'm using Trump here as a frame to give you these 4 points. If I could use Kamala, I would use her, but I can't use Kamala for these points because they don't apply to her. I did a whole live, 90 minutes, that said why Kamala is going to win. So any of you think that I'm doing this just to support Trump, you got another thing coming. Go look it up. I did a whole live on why Kamala is going to win. You can find it on YouTube. It's 90 minutes long, probably closer to 2 hours long. So any of you who thinks that, go fact check yourself. Again, y'all want another fact? There's a fact for you. Someone said Kamala wrote a fictional autobiography. She ain't the first one. She ain't the first one to do that. A lot of people do that. Let's say. Bones said, if you vote for Trump, you love America. Someone said, I don't agree with anything you said. All right, good. You have a right to not agree with anything I said. I'm not trying to convince you. I'm not in the convincing business. Someone said he was born in Wakanda, not Kenya. Someone said, was Trump born in Germany? I don't know. Was he? Someone said, just ignore Obama birth certificate. Well, you can get a birth certificate maybe. That doesn't actually prove anything. Someone said Kamala is not going to win. We'll see. We'll see in less than 2 weeks. Ivy said, I pray every day that you're wrong on that. You pray that I'm wrong on it? You're wasting your prayers on something that you should probably be praying for something that matters more. Sweet Pea said, prove it's fictional. No, I'm not going to prove that it's fictional. I talked about this a couple of days ago as well. So some of you who are just seeing me for the first time ever, I talked about this. There's a difference between what you know and what you believe. All right. Most of what we're talking about here, all of us, we're talking about what we believe, not what we know. You don't know something unless you have personally experienced it and seen it with your own eyes. If you have not personally experienced it, you don't know. You believe it. Where was Barack Obama born? I don't know where he was born. I believe he was born in Kenya. I do believe that. Now, I don't know because Barack Obama's older than me, so I couldn't have seen him being born. He was born before me. So I don't know where he was born. Where was Kamala born? I don't know. We just go off of what we want to believe. So a lot of what you all consider to be reality or facts are things that you have chosen to believe. They are not, you don't actually know. You don't know anything unless you have seen it with your own eyes. If you didn't see it with your own eyes, you don't know. You just believe it. And people can tell you anything. You just decide who you want to listen to and who you don't. That's how human nature works. But most people call their beliefs truth when you don't actually know that it's true. You don't know. The problem is most people don't want to admit that because it will cause you to question everything that you think you know. Most of the things you think you know, you don't know. Let's say, where was Trump born? I don't know. I just told you that. I don't know. Nor do I care. I don't care where he was born. Is anybody questioning where he was born? People are questioning Kamala's background. Nobody's questioning Trump's background. So why does it matter? Why is that even relevant to this discussion? Someone said, what American woman would go to a third world country to have a child? I don't know what that's referring to. Sweet Pea said, you're spewing opinions. LOL. I got it. Everybody's spewing opinions. What the hell do you think this is, Sweet Pea? If you want facts, you should be going on Google. All right? You don't get facts from a human. You get facts from Google or the library. Everybody's spewing opinions. Every comment in here is based on an opinion. People say I'm spewing opinions like that invalidates what I'm saying. All right, everybody is spewing opinions. Who here is not spewing opinions? Someone said orange book. None of my books are orange. I think you're referring to the third day. This is red. The third day. That book is about how you show up and give your best effort when you least feel like it. Like I said, wearing a suit doesn't make you intelligent. I agree. Just like wearing a pair of Jordans doesn't make you a basketball player. I agree with you. Have the day said, just feeling hate. What does that mean? Six Ranger said, I respect the unbiased approach as host. Gave you a follow. Thank you, sir. Someone said, can't even get real facts from Google anymore. Exactly. So people talking about, oh, you're just giving opinions as if other people don't give opinions. Everybody gives opinions. So what are you saying? I mean, what are you actually saying when you say someone's just spewing opinions? What do you spew? Are you spewing facts? Facts, quote unquote. We got to do the air quotes every time we say facts. Someone said, why are you gaslighting about Obama? Again, I'm saying that's just what I believe. That's not even the topic. I believe he was born in Kenya, and they got documentation that says he was born in Hawaii. Doesn't matter. He already was president twice. It don't matter. That's just what I believe. What are black jobs? Jobs that black people have. Someone said, can't get real facts from this guy either. I'm not trying to give you real facts. I'm trying to give you truth and things that you can actually use. I'm giving you truth and game is what I'm trying to give you, not facts. I'm not trying to give you facts. Facts can be picked and chosen. You can deceive people with facts. You can lie with facts, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I got to do a whole lot just on that. Facts versus truth, because many of you don't understand the difference between facts and truth. You can tell people a whole bunch of facts that are not the truth. Let's see. Obama was born in the U.S. What U.S. home will go to a third world country to have a child? Oh, that's what you're saying? Okay. Well, if you believe that, that's fine. Again, you can believe whatever you want to believe. I'm not trying to change your mind. So let everybody know here, I am not in the business of changing people's minds. I am not interested in changing anybody's mind. It's a waste of time. It's an exercise in futility, changing people's minds. Someone says you can tell the truth based on feelings. I don't think I said that. Facts versus truth. I can't wait. Good. It's coming. Let's see. No, sir. All facts and truth are one and the same. No, they are not. Facts and truth are not one and the same. It can be a fact that one day in Miami is 60 degrees outside and raining. All right, that's a fact. Now, does that mean, is that the truth of what the weather is like in Miami in a general sense? No, it's not. The weather in Miami in a general sense is tropical, warm, and humid. But even though one day is 60 degrees, rainy, and windy, that's not the truth about Miami. So yes, there's a difference between facts and truth. You can take facts out of context and paint any picture you want. You cannot take the truth out of context. It's impossible. Desert Rider said, "You don't know shit, bro." All right, fine. Some say. Some people agree with you, AZ Desert Rider. So thank you for sharing your opinion. All right. Someone said the spin is crazy. All right, that's cool. Shout out to the spin. Ski Pro said 100% you're correct. So some people think I'm an idiot. Some people think I'm a genius. This is exactly how it's supposed to be. All right, we'll keep going as long as this is interesting. All right. Christine with Clarity, what's going on? Good morning to you. Someone said you could definitely be a politician with your BS. You're right. I could be a politician. I choose not to, though. I don't want to get in politics. Politics is a very dirty game. I'm not interested in politics at all. Some said, what is the fact and truth in your definition? I just said it. You can take facts out of context, and truth is all the facts in full context. You cannot take the truth out of context. It's impossible. You can take facts out of context. For example, all right, let me give you an example of facts and truth. Let's say you consider yourself to be a peaceful person, but I go find somebody you got in a fight with when you were 15 and you beat them up. And I say, well, here's a fact. You're a violent person because you beat this person up when you were 15. Is that a fact? Did that happen? Yes, it happened. That's a fact. Absolute fact. Nobody can say it didn't happen. You beat somebody up. Does that mean you're a violent person? No, because that's the only fight you've been in your whole life and you're 47 years old. So which one is the reality about you? The fact that you got in a fight that one time when you were 15 and you beat somebody to a pulp, or the truth that you only been in one fight in 47 years? Which one is the reality? I would go with the truth over the fact. This is how you can take a fact out of context and paint a picture. It does not make it the truth. All right, everybody understand that? I'm giving you a simple example here, but there are many examples just like that. People do it with Trump all the time. They take facts, quote unquote, out of context and then say, well, how can you like Trump because he did this? Well, that's one fact. What about all the rest of the facts? And many human beings don't like hearing that, because many of you take a fact that you have an isolated fact and you let it calcify into a belief. That's the real issue. It's not that the fact is not the fact, is that you let your facts calcify into beliefs. Facts can be challenged. There are counterfacts to every fact. Let's see. Christine, you're getting it? Good. Calvin says, sounds like Trump. All right, some say if you cheat on all three of your wives, does that make you a cheat? Yes, that's facts. You know what? I would agree with that. Yes, that is facts. But guess what? It doesn't matter. Then I just tell you facts don't matter. I just told you facts don't matter. So yes, you just pointed out a fact. I agree with you. When I say a man who's cheated on three wives is a cheating husband, I say yes. Is Donald Trump a cheating husband? Everybody hear me? I'm saying this for the record. Everybody got it? Is Donald Trump a cheating husband? Yes. Will it matter? No. All right, everybody got it? Okay, there we go. He was a cheating husband when he won in 2016. He was a cheating husband when he lost in 2020. What are you saying? What is your point? Y'all are pointing out facts that don't matter. I just told y'all, facts don't matter. Right? Bob Small said your brother wants to be Trump. Okay, some say. All right. Trump supporters can't accept the fact that he lost. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm a supporter of the truth. I'm a supporter of logic. Someone said Bill Clinton cheated. Exactly. And Bill Clinton won the election twice. Facts don't matter. Yes, I said it 10 times here. Facts do not matter. Grayan said, dude, just saying anything. No, I'm not. I'm not saying anything here that I haven't said in the past. Some of you are just hearing of me for the first time. None of these are new. Nothing that I'm saying here is brand new. Nothing, not a single thing. I got a long track record. Now, y'all see these books on the shelf behind me? Google me, please. I got a show that comes out every day since 2016. It has 3,000 episodes. Name one thing I'm saying here today that I've never said before. You can't name one. Not one. All right. Someone said, definitely sound like Trump. Facts don't matter. As a matter of fact, first person I heard say facts don't matter is a guy named Scott Adams. He wrote a book called Win Bigly. And he explained how the change in human nature, can somebody put the name of that book in the comments? It's called Win Bigly, Bigly. Author's name is Scott Adams. And Scott Adams used to write this cartoon called Dilbert. And in that book, what Scott explained, he used the 2016 election as a canvas, but what he was explaining was how human nature has changed in such a way that since we can no longer trust our facts and our news sources, such as the news networks, mainstream media, and quote unquote journalists, there's no real journalism anymore. Now, what matters more is not having objective facts, but persuasion. That's one of the reasons why Trump won, because he didn't really have to focus on facts. He focused on persuading people, and persuasion is how you win elections. You don't win elections with facts, ladies and gentlemen. You win elections with persuasion. Donald Trump is very persuasive. That's why he has so many fans, not because he is factual. If being factual won elections, then people who win Nobel Peace Prizes and college professors will be running for president, and they will win all the time because they have all these facts in their head. People who read a whole bunch of books, they will be winning elections. Is Donald Trump, does he seem like a guy who has a whole bunch of facts in order? Not really. But does he have a whole bunch of fans? Yes, he does. You win elections by persuading, not with facts. Did Barack Obama have a lot of facts? Not really. He's just very persuasive. He's a great speaker. He's very eloquent. He carries himself in a very presidential way. That's the reason why he won, not because of the facts. Many of you want to focus on facts because facts they have, again, calcified into your beliefs. That's the issue that people have. Someone said, do you think Kamala is factual? Yeah, I don't think she is, but people hate Trump so much that they're voting for Kamala. I think most votes for Kamala are actually votes against Trump. Trina said Trump is persuasive to racists. Okay, some say. Am I a Trump supporter? No, I'm not a Trump supporter. I just give people as objective as I can an explanation of what I see. No human is completely objective, not even me. I try to be, but no human can be completely objective. It's not even possible. Charisma counts. Counts a lot. You're trying to win a federal election. Charisma is the whole game. That's the whole game. I don't think Kamala is very charismatic, but she's going against Trump. So she's just leveraging, don't vote for Trump, vote for me. That's what she's leveraging. Joe Biden did the same thing. Joe Biden doesn't really have fans. Kamala doesn't have fans, but Trump has haters. So if you run against him, all you got to do is leverage the fact that people hate him. Someone said, do you think your beliefs should be based on facts? LOL, your logic breaks down too fast. No, your beliefs should be based on truth, not facts. That's the part you're missing. So you just straw man my point. Someone said Trump's going to win regardless. So we'll see. Who do I think is going to win? I don't care who wins. I did a whole live on this yesterday or 2 days ago. Who to vote for? I did a whole live 2 days ago. For those of you who are new here and you're hearing me for the first time ever in life, and maybe the last time because you don't like what I'm saying. 2 days ago, I did a whole live, the same length, and I said who to vote for. I did a whole live and I laid it all out for y'all. So any of you who's confused, all right, or you don't like what you're hearing right now, it's all laid out for you. So there is no confusion. I'm on the record, folks. I got 30,000 pieces of content on the internet, all public. So I can't lie to you about what I've said and where I stand. It's all on the record. Someone said truth and facts should prevail. Truth and facts are not the same thing. Someone said when Trump said it takes 66,000 to bury a Mexican, do I believe that? Did he actually say it? Did you see that? Did you see him say it or hear him say it yourself? Do you see a video of him saying it? The answers are no and no, because there is no video. That's a report that one person said he said it, then other people said he didn't say it, and the family said, we like Trump because we like how he dealt with our family. So you're repeating something that you heard, but you do not know is true. That's not even a fact. You're repeating, that's called hearsay. You heard somebody say it, now you're accepting it as a reality. You don't know that he actually said that. See, this is the issue. And a lot of people have that when it comes to Trump. But again, I don't care. I don't care if you love Trump or you hate Trump. See, I'm not reactive to these things that y'all say negative about Trump because I'm not on Trump's team. I don't work for MAGA. I don't get paid by the Republican Party. I am not a Trump supporter, and you can say the same things about the Democratic Party. I'm voting for myself, not either one of them. Everybody got it? Facts don't matter. Only thing that matters is making people believe. Yes, you got it. Whoever that was, they didn't have a name, user or something. That's what it is. Facts don't matter, folks. A lot of you don't like the fact that facts don't matter. That's what it is. Facts don't matter. The woman who said the thing about Trump talking about burying the Mexican, that's not a fact. That's just what you believe. And your beliefs drive your behaviors. Most people's beliefs are based on behaviors, not on facts. I mean, behaviors are based on beliefs, not on facts. Someone said, you're a Trump fan. You just said it. No, I didn't. I just said that I'm not. What do you listen to? Someone said, that's every attorney. I don't know what you're referring to. Someone said, he said, she said. Yes, that's the whole game these days. He said, she said is the game, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you want to accept it or not, that is the game. It's what one person said and what you choose to accept versus what you choose to reject. And if you didn't hear it out of the person's mouth, you don't know that it happened. You are just choosing what you want to believe and choosing what you don't want to believe. Most people don't want to accept that because we have all been raised on this concept that there's one fact that everybody has to accept and we all are on the same page. We are not all on the same page. The problem many of you have is that you can't reconcile the reality that we all have different truths in our own heads and different facts in our own heads about what happened versus what didn't happen. This is the world that we're in today, folks. And you know one of the reasons why? Because of these things right here, because of social media, and because of the fact that we're all getting our information from different sources. This is how we got here. So this is the reason why we live in the world we live in. Over on Instagram, Bambo said, what books or new philosophies did you adapt to get out of the identity politics trap? Well, the first thing is what happened in 2016. When I thought if Trump won, then we were going to get put back in chains and he was going to roll back all the gains for minorities and women and black people, et cetera. And I said, there's no way he can win because that would require like half the country voting for him. And there's no way that half the country is all racist and bigots and they hate minorities. I said, there's no way he can win. It's impossible. And then when he won, I said, that's impossible because I've been to damn near every state in America. I've met a whole lot of people. I have a whole lot of life experiences. I've been to 10, 11, 15 countries, something like that. There's no way that half the people in America could all be racist, misogynist, hate the LGBT and all. There's no way that everybody could be doing it. It's impossible. So when he won, I realized that, all right, since half the people did vote for him, and I know that there's no way that they're all racist, negative, terrible, misogynistic, et cetera, then the issue must be me. This is the realization that this is the red pill that I came to in 2016. So the issue has to be me. I must not be getting enough. Must not be getting my information from enough sources because I must only be listening to one version of the story. So I started listening to people who were actually, they liked him and they supported him and they were fans of Trump. And I started listening to what they're saying. I said, oh, these people are actually not racist and not misogynistic and not trying to destroy everything. And they actually have reasons why they support him. And then I just started learning more about how is this happening? Because again, I tend to believe I'm a very logical and objective person. And I thought the logic and the objective facts said, this guy's this terrible person. There's no way he can get half the country to vote for him. But then when they did anyway, I said, okay, obviously there must be more to the story about him. See, some of you, what you did when that happened in 2016, you said, oh, this is terrible. Half the country is racist. I said, it's impossible to have the country's racist because I've met enough people and been to enough places that's not possible. Therefore, I must have gotten the wrong story. See, many of you doubled down on your story. Instead, I said, I got the wrong story. See, there's two different choices you had. You go this way, you can go this way. So some of you said, okay, half the country voted for Trump, half the people are racist. I said, half the country voted for Trump. That's impossible. I must have the wrong story. These people can't be racist. Let me go find out why they voted for him. Then I started getting new information. This is when I started taking what they call the red pill. And I started to realize that I had been duped. They weren't racist. I had been duped. I was getting the wrong information. And that's when I started to get a different idea. And that's when I became more objective in the way that I looked at things, which led me to where we are today. So that hopefully that answers your question. Surfing Cowboy, what's going on, my man? Said, many people want to keep holding their tunes rather than synthesizing what you're saying. Thanks for the objective info. Yes, sir. Good to see you here. So that's how I got the red pill. Was when I realized that a bunch of people had bought into one idea, and when they got some information that tended to conflict with what they believed, instead of challenging themselves, what they did was triple down on what they already believed. And this is how most people are. So this is what I tell people. I'll give you all this, is that any of you who's over the age of 30 and you haven't seen any of your high school classmates in a while, don't worry about how they're doing it. Don't go look them up on Facebook. I'll tell you what happened to them. They just got older, fatter, and uglier. And I say that as a tongue-in-cheek thing, but the reason that I say that is because, and I tell this to frame this to my audience, is that Most people do not change. Most people get a certain set of beliefs and a certain way of looking at life, and they do not change that. All they do, anything that happens in life, they find a way to make it conform to what they already believe. This is called confirmation bias. So if you believe half the country's racist, no matter what happens, you find a way to make that make sense with everything that happens. Half the country's racist. You believe half the country's racist. So if you see a black person saying anything positive about Donald Trump, you're, instead of saying, let me consider why this person is saying these things, because I doubt this black person's racist against themselves, you instead say, oh, well, you're just trying to be Trump, or you're a Trump supporter and you're lying about it, or you just want to be MAGA, or you're just an idiot, or you just don't know anything. See, that's confirmation bias. Instead, if you said, this person is saying some things that are, obviously they can't be racist against themselves, so let me consider why they might be saying what they're saying. Maybe I have the wrong idea instead of him having the wrong idea. Most people don't have the ability to say that to themselves. Therefore, they experience what we call cognitive dissonance, which is when something conflicts with your beliefs, clearly conflicts with your beliefs, but instead of asking yourself, how can I change the way I think? You instead figure out a way to dismiss what you just saw or what you just heard and make it fit your current worldview. This is the reason why most people do not grow or change in life, because they just get a certain idea and they keep it for the rest of their lives. Someone said, you don't believe facts are objective reality. Facts and objective reality are relative. There's no such thing as objective reality. My reality and your reality are completely different. All right, tell me some things about your reality. I'll tell you some things about mine. You'll notice that they're in conflict. So there's no such thing as objective reality. Reality is subjective. My reality is I'm 6 feet 4 inches tall. I'll go to the gym and work out every day. I have less than 10% body fat. I'm an entrepreneur who owns a business, and I'm doing a 2-hour live stream on TikTok right now. Is any of that relative to your reality? Is that your reality? No. All right. So my reality and your reality are not the same. So there's no such thing as objective. Objective reality is not a thing. Again, people like to use terms like objective reality because you want everyone to conform to the same facts that you conform to. That's simply not how life works. Many people have been raised to believe that's how life works. Specifically, if you come up in the American educational system and in the medical system, there's one reality that everyone has to conform to. That's not how the world is these days. It used to be like that, not anymore. And again, I wish it was like that. It would be much easier for me if it was like that. I read a whole lot of books. I write books. I'm a very logical and objective person. At least I think I am. Life would be easier if it was that way, but it's not that way. So you have to adjust. Let's see. Subjective reality. Yes, all reality is subjective, ladies and gentlemen. Reality can change. The reality can be it's raining outside, and 10 minutes later, the reality is hot outside. All right, which one is the objective reality? Reality changes, ladies and gentlemen. Someone said, are you prepared to revert back to pre-civil rights movement? Because that's what Trump is doing. LOL. Right. Someone said, how do you feel about ACA? What's ACA? What are you referring to? There are laws and regulations which you must conform to, so you must abide by everybody's rules. Who's everybody? What are you talking about? AJ Maracalo said, thank you for opening my eyes. If I can do that today, I'll take that as a win. Let's see. Love your lives. You speaking nothing but facts. I'd rather speak the truth than facts, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Someone said, but Trump hasn't changed. Well, he doesn't have to. He's the one with the audience listening to him. That's how it goes. Again, reality is subjective. All right. I decided to change. He didn't have to change. All right. What I needed to do and what he needs to do are two different things. Just like what you need to do is a third different thing. And what someone else needs to do is another different thing. Affordable Care Act. How do I feel about it? I mean, that's a very deep question. I could do a whole live just on that alone. I probably won't because I don't study those kind of things, but there's no one quick answer to that. Someone said you acted smart, but don't know what ACA. ACA can stand for several different things. There are businesses called ACA that is not the Affordable Care Act. So I believe it depends on what you're talking about. And smart does not mean you know about every single thing that's happening in life. Smart means you know about the subjects on which you decide to talk. I didn't say I'm going to come up here and talk about healthcare, did I? Then that would be a legitimate point. I never said I'm going to give a speech about healthcare. If I did, then that might be a different concept. I never said that. Someone said, where's your copy of let's see. Show up at a Trump rally with Trump gear, and I didn't see what that said. Someone said, you want that seat at the table that bad. I got my own table. I'm sitting at the table right now. I own this table. There's no seat at the table that I want. Someone said, Trump, show up with a Trump rally with no Trump gear and see how you get treated. I ain't showing up to nobody's rally. I'll show up to my own rallies. This is a Dre Baldwin rally we having right now. I ain't going to nobody's rally. You have me confused with someone else. Let's see. All right, we can take a couple more of these. Dems in full meltdown, and I'm here for it. Okay, fine. Okay, what does Trump mean when he says he has concepts of a plan for the Affordable Health Care Act? Smart guy. It means exactly what he said. He has concepts of a plan. What am I supposed to explain his thoughts? And what does any of that have to do with whether or not he wins the election? The answer is nothing, zero. Someone said, I see you're trying to get attention. Motherfucker, what do you think I'm on social media for? Of course I'm trying to get attention. What's the point of being on social media if you ain't trying to get attention? That's the whole fucking point. Some of y'all simple-minded comments are hilarious. Of course I'm trying to get attention. It's social fucking media. That's the whole point of social media, is to get attention. What are you talking about? Someone said, you're serving a Trump rally right now. LOL. Right. Thank you. Officially, who is it? Officially, I can't see the rest of your name. Thank you for those gold coins. Tommy said, can you be my mentor? Yes, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. There's a link in my bio. Someone said that's the dumbest comment ever. Raya, thank you for the heart. The roses. Vote blue all day. Said, I'm new here, so I am to believe you're voting for Trump. No, I'm voting for myself. I did a live 2 days ago telling you who to vote for. And the answer is vote for yourself. And I explained why you need to vote for yourself. Someone said, why are they trying to scrub her first marriage? I heard Candace allude to that. I haven't seen enough information to know if that actually happened or not, but I heard Candace allude to that she had another marriage. Thank you for the ghost, Chris. Someone said, you believe in Jesus. I am not a Christian. I'm not a practicing any religion. So above Trump, Vance, Kennedy, Tulsi, and Elon. And that's a pretty solid team, I guess we could say. Art said, you are fantastic. Thank you. Someone, Kamala has no plan and can't answer any question at all. Yeah, see, nobody says that about Kamala. They only say it about Trump. But Kamala has very poorly handled these interviews she's been doing, I would say, objectively. If you're a Kamala fan, you could even say that objectively, that she has very poorly answered these questions that she's been asked. Excuse me. I think everyone who does social media is on it for attention. Of course we are. That's the very point of being on social media, is getting attention. Nobody gets on social media for their health. We get on social media for attention. That's the very point of it. So it's very ridiculous when people say you're just trying to get attention, as if, what the hell are you here for? So bro bought them books from a garage sale. Yeah, right. The books that I wrote. All right. My name is on every one of the books that you can see. So if I bought these from a garage sale, it's news to me. All right. D. Marie said, I'm voting for myself and it will be Trump. Fair enough. Someone said, accept Kamala's 80-page economic plan on her website. Okay, fine. Let's see if she wins. Let's see if she actually follows through on everything on that plan and who's going to hold her accountable if she doesn't. Answer is probably not, and nobody. Says Trump has a concept of a plan. Well, Trump was already president, so let's look at what he did. Rocca said, dude, anyone can print a book. It's not special. All right, fair enough. How many you got? Let's compare. How many books have you sold? Let's compare that too. Anyone can print a book. You are right about that. Now the question is, how many have you printed? That's the question. But anyway, I'm not going down that rabbit hole. Someone said, Trump instead of, these are going too fast. Someone said, how many Diddy parties has Kamala been to? I don't know. Well, Diddy parties, it was 2 Diddy parties. There was the above board party, and then there was the crazy party. So you can go to the above board party and not have done anything wrong. A lot of people went to those parties. That don't mean you did anything wrong, because there was 2 parties. Someone said you printed them out and sold them to yourself. LOL. All right. Why are you voting for someone who tried to coup the government into overturning a democratic election? I didn't say who I was voting. I didn't say I was voting for Trump. I said I'm voting for myself. I did a live 2 days ago, and he didn't overturn the election. Clearly, he's not president right now. So if he overturned it, it didn't work. So what are we talking about? Michelle said they will vote for her again, even if she does nothing, but they say we are backward thinking. All right, I'm going to take a couple more of these, then we got to go. I got to go to the bathroom. I got to eat, and I got an interview coming up at 10:30. Someone said, what don't you like about Trump? I don't like any politician because they all lie. All politicians are liars. You have to be a expert liar to win a presidential election in the United States of America. So I could apply that to anyone who's ever won. Obama, Clinton, Bush, Trump, Harris, Biden, they all lie. You have to be a liar to win a political election. So it's not anything specifically about Trump or even specifically Kamala that you got to lie. They all lie. This is why it's interesting to me when people get so excited about political candidates. They're all lying to you. That's why I told you to vote for yourself. Again, that's why I did a live 2 days ago, tell you to vote for yourself. Do not put all your eggs in the basket of a politician. I don't care who it is, Trump, Harris, or anybody else. Let's see. It's funny, no matter how many times you voted for yourself, people are still asking. I know, I keep saying it. Vote for yourself, and people keep trying to frame it like, "Why are you voting for Trump?" When they're trying to backdoor me with that. Why are you voting for Trump? And get me to answer the question. I see y'all trying. It's not going to work. I'm voting for myself. You're not getting any more answer than that. Someone said, "Is lying about cats and dogs valid?" No. What do you mean by valid? Is it persuasive? Yes. Now, whether you think he was lying or not is up to you. But the fact that he said that, was it persuasive? Yes, it was. Because guess what? That was like, what, 2 months ago? A month and a half ago? And you still remember that he said it. That's the persuasion, that you still remember it. The persuasion is what you remember. Is not whether it was factual or not, truthful or not, logical or not. The persuasion is just, what do you remember? And the things that Donald Trump does, people remember. That's persuasion. Persuasion means getting people to remember things. Amongst other things. There's other things you could do as well. Someone said, was he lying about it? I don't know. I don't know if they're eating the dogs. I don't live in Ohio. I don't know if they're eating the dogs. I can only go off of what I heard and what I saw. And in general, it doesn't matter. All right, how many times do I have to say this, folks? Facts don't matter. Okay. Facts don't matter. Alonzo Hall on Instagram said, "If I review your stuff, will you copyright strike me?" Alonzo, depends on what you say. If you say good stuff, then I won't copyright strike you. If you try to bash me, then I'll copyright strike you. All right, how you like that for an answer? All right. Someone said, "People remember Manson. Was that persuasive?" His behavior was, because you remember it. Yes. Persuasion doesn't mean you like it. It means you remember it. If you remember it, it was persuasive on some level. Again, persuasion is more than just remembering, but if you remember it, it was persuasive. Guess what? You still remember it. Said, "Vote for Kamala is a vote to sell out our country." Someone said, "I remember Harris can't answer questions." Yes, that's persuasive. And it might persuade you to not vote for her. Get it? Someone said, "Facts don't matter." There you go, conservative grifter. I'm grifting. All right, please tell me where the Conservative Party or the Republican Party is sending me my checks, because I ain't got it. I ain't got none. So if they're paying me, please tell me where the money's at. I want it. I need to go to Whole Foods. All right. Let's see. This character you're playing is so whack. LMAO. All right. Well, if it was as whack as you say it is, you wouldn't still be here, would you? So you actually saying facts don't matter? Yes, I'm actually saying that. Facts don't matter. So I say it for the 50th time today. Facts do not matter. What matters is persuasion. People want facts to matter because you want the facts that you like to matter. You don't want the facts that you don't like to matter. So you care about the facts you like. What really matters is truth, not facts. Truth is all the facts in full context. That requires thinking. It requires digestion, and is not something that you can post in a TikTok comment. Someone said, "Show us your ankle monitor." LOL. Someone said that attention feels good. Well, social media. What's the point of social media? Attention. Yeah, he's getting a lot more. What's the word? Black vote. Yes, he is getting more black vote. Looks like it. At least it appears he is. USA All-Star on Instagram said, "Truth is relative." Okay, I accept that. I'm good with that. I accept that point. Jasmine said, "I remember a person unaliving themselves didn't persuade me." Well, it did, maybe in a way that you aren't talking about, but it did persuade you because you remember it. The fact that you remember it, period, is persuasive. It's stuck in your mind, because how much information have you taken in over the course of your life, person who left that comment, and how many things do you remember? You remember a lot fewer than what you've actually consumed. So that's persuasion alone. Someone said, "Can I elaborate on how facts are not the truth?" I talked about that earlier. It can be a fact that it's cold and rainy in Miami one day, but that's not the truth about Miami. The truth about Miami is that the climate is warm, humid, and hot, or hot, humid, and sunny. So one fact is it's raining and cold today, but the truth is the general climate here is hot, humid, and is a tropical climate. So there's an example of facts and truth, facts versus truth, rather. Someone said, "Why did I skip over your question?" These comments are coming so quick, I can't read everything. So I'm not really skipping questions. I'm just looking at the ones that I can actually read. Someone said, "What, bro? You talking about a day versus the rest of the year?" Exactly. So that day, the fact is it was cold and rainy. Is that a fact? The Jules wander? Yes, that's a fact. It's cold and rainy on Tuesday. The truth is, over the course of the year, as a general idea, it is a warm, tropical, humid climate in Miami. All right, that's the truth. The fact is, today is cold and rainy. All right, what part do you not understand? There's a difference between a fact and the truth. You can pull a fact out in isolation and paint any picture you want. You cannot pull the truth out of context. It is impossible to pull the truth out of context. Does everybody understand this? Someone said facts for the day. Yeah, it's still a fact. Fact for the day is a fact. All right, January 6th was one day. All right, is it a fact? Yes. All right, you see what you're doing there? I know what I'm doing here. All right, y'all are trying, but you're failing. A fact is a fact. I know. In fact, a true for a day is not the same as the rest of the year. I know. That's the fucking point. Are you listening? That's what I just said. If it's cold and rainy one Tuesday in Miami, that is a fact. Is it the truth about Miami's weather? No. That's the truth is over here. The fact is over there. What do y'all not get? I don't understand this. January 6th was one day. That's a fact. Is it the truth? No. Because there was all 364 more days in Washington, D.C. where none of that happened. So what's the truth? Okay, everybody get it? Okay, anyway. All right, we got to wrap these up, folks. I can sit here all day, but I got things to do. Appreciate everybody's time and attention here. I will tell everyone that I do these lives Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern. I will be talking about current events now through election day. So that's all next week. And then at least 2 days the week after election week. And yeah, we'll see what happens on election night. Maybe we'll know who won, maybe we won't. And then we'll take it from there. Work on Your Game University. That's where I do all my coaching and training. Any of you want to work with me directly, that's where it happens. Someone said, can I do a masterclass on facts and truth? Yes, I will do that. I'll put it in my notes that I'm going to do a live on facts and truth because people keep asking me about that. I already have an episode on my show. My show is called Work on Your Game, by the way. Any of you want to listen to that show, I will tell you where I talked about facts and truth. I did a whole episode on it. It was episode number 2737. Episode number 2737. Facts are not the truth. Let me see if I can pull it up. Y'all can find this on Spotify. Y'all can find it on Apple. You can find it on Spotify, Apple. Most of y'all know where those are. I'm going to see if they have it on the app. So it's episode 2737. Facts are not the truth. So any of you who don't know, I've been on the record for many years. I am not new to this game. In fact, let's see if I don't see it on here. Let's see. Podcasts and shows. Facts are not the truth. What is this? No, it might not be on the feed anymore. We might have passed it already. We got so many episodes that they don't show all the episodes on the feed. But anyway, just look up my show. It's called Work on Your Game. I got an episode called Facts Are Not the Truth, and they might not have all the episodes on here. I'm looking through Spotify, see if I can find it. But they only show you like the last 500 episodes or something like that. I'm scrolling. It was episode 2737. I'm almost there. 2757, 2750. The hell? No, it's going in the opposite direction now. And here it is right here. Episode 2737. Y'all see that? Facts are not the truth. Here it is right here. This is Spotify. Y'all see that? Facts are not the truth. Here it is. Instagram. Those of y'all watching, there it is. Facts are not the truth. Those of y'all watching on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, here it is. So I'm showing you all this just to let you know. Everything you hear me saying here today, I got receipts. All right, none of this is new. I did not make this up. This came out on November 11th of last year. So this is all, I did this a year ago. Okay, so this ain't new. Any of you thought this was new? This ain't new. I've been talking about this stuff. And you notice what number episode this is. 2,737. I am not new. Was Drake saying that song? Never washed, but I'm not new. Okay, is my show on YouTube? Yes. Find it on YouTube. 2737. This ain't new. All right, just in case any of you was wondering, I got receipts. I got more receipts than CBS. You know, CBS gives you those long receipts. My show is called Work on Your Game. Same name as my book right here. Work on Your Game. That's the name of my company. That's the name of my show. That's the name of my university. Work on Your Game. Everybody got it? All right, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to eat. And I got interviews today that I need to get to. Appreciate everybody. I will be here Monday, 8 a.m. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. is when I do these lives. It will be current events for the next week plus because we got an election coming up, and I'm going to milk that for as much attention as I can get because I'm on social media to get attention. People talking about you on social media to get attention like that's some kind of bad thing. What the hell else you on social media for? So everybody, I will see y'all on Monday. Work on your game. We out of here.